Simpson. We will be. All right, you're all set.
All right, thank you. Hello, my name is Dan Laird. I am an academic project manager with Campus Technology Services, and I'm also the administrator for Panopto, which Panopto is our kind of a digital asset management. You're able to upload videos to it. The primary use of it is to record videos. We have Panopto set up in all the classrooms on campus that have Podium PCs, and there's some rooms that have Macs that have it available as well. What that does is it allows you to record your lecture, and then once you're done recording and you hit stop, it'll automatically publish that to your Brightspace course. So your students will have access to that for review or if they missed any time in class. So that's the primary use of it. Some instructors also use it to supplement the resources available to their students. Some will install Panopto on their personal laptops or desktops and create additional materials to give to students. Usually they're short videos, not like the longer lectures, but also I'm going to share my screen. Give me 1 second.
We also have Eric in the room as well.
Okay. Hi, Eric.
Hello.
Okay, so this is our Panopto information page. It is oswego.edu/cts/Panopto. This is a kind of, it gives you some information about the system. And there's also a help page in here that has lots of resources, articles, and videos that talk about setting up in Brightspace, installing the recorder, doing recordings, captioning, file management, and editing. So if you ever have any questions, you can check these out. And if you're not able to find any answers, you're more than welcome to email the help desk and they can create a ticket for me to check out what's going on. So the first thing, let's see here. The first thing that needs to be done is setting up the Brightspace link. And there is a YouTube video here that I think I have, let's see if I can, I just want to make sure if I play this for you that you get the video, you get the audio. I think you will. Just let me know if you can't hear this. No, you can't. There. So that's the installation in a nutshell. That's what the first step you need to do if you want to use Panopto in your course. A lot of people will install Panopto and then try to use it and aren't able to. And that step of setting it up in Brightspace will create your account in Panopto, and it will also create a folder that you can upload the specific videos for that course to that folder to get published to that course. So, and you can set up, if you have multiple courses you want to use Panopto in, you're going to need to do that procedure for each one. And that will create a folder for each course. And it will, on top of those initial steps, it'll also look at your course roster and see who is a student of your course and give them view access to the folder in the system. So That is the first step that you need to do if you would like to use the Panopto service. Now, I did mention that this is installed in the classrooms on campus. You can also download Panopto for your, if you have a laptop or desktop you'd like to use it on. There are, we go back to the help site and go here. There's instructions on how to install for Windows and for Mac. It's fairly simple. Let me change the screen. Sure. Okay, so this is what it looks like in Brightspace. This is a practice course of mine that I installed it in. So usually what faculty will do when they're teaching a course is go into Brightspace, go to their Panopto link, and then once you're in here, if you click create, there's a Panopto, there's a record in the application. This option will open up the recorder on whatever computer you're using, if it's, you know, in the classroom or your personal laptop. So that's usually what people do, and that's a good idea because what this step does, it'll automatically select the folder for this course. So you don't need to worry about that extra step of um, having to find which folder you want the video to go to. So that kind of skips that step and does it for you. So let me just go in here. So after you install the link, like that was just in that video, it'll produce this in your content area. You can move this wherever you want in your content area. And then you can click on this link, which will bring you to the folder for this course. So while I'm waiting for this to load, I know I might be going a little fast and I apologize. Is there any questions so far? You can feel free to interrupt me.
You know, everything is very clear so far. Thank you.
Okay. So this is what it looks like in Brightspace. If you want to kick off the recorder in your classroom or on your laptop, you can click this button and then it'll say, you know, if you have Panopto already installed, then you want to click open. But if this is your first time doing it and you want to install Panopto on your personal computer, then you would go down to this download Panopto, and that would download the executable file, and then you can install Panopto on your machine. But I already have it installed, so I'm going to click open. And then usually the browser will say, do you want this to open that application? And you say yes. Now I think I'm going to have to change my share again. Yes, I will. And Panopto is going to complain because I'm in Zoom right now using my camera, and Panopto wants to use my camera and it can't because an existing program is already using that. So just ignore that. Here. Okay, so this is the recorder that pops up once you click that option in your Brightspace course. As you can see here under folder, it's already selected my course. So that's one step I don't have to do. If you were to open up the recorder without, you know, not using the link in Brightspace, if you just went to your desktop and clicked on it and opened it, you would need to go into this and select the course for the folder that you want to send the video to. So that's just, you know, you skip that step if you go and do this through Brightspace, but it's not a huge deal to, you know, go in here. You just got to remember to do it. That's a sticking point for a lot of instructors is they'll be like, why isn't the video in my folder? Why isn't the video in the course? And usually it has something to do with, you know, they either clicked offline or didn't go through that and forgot. So no big deal. So that's the folder that it's going to go to. The name, by default, gives it a timestamp. A lot of faculty will usually use the current chapter of whatever book they're in to kind of identify the course or whatever subject they're talking about. So you can change that. Under here, you want to make sure at a minimum that your audio is being recorded. You can probably see that the levels are changing as I speak. So that's an indicator that it can see it has access to your microphone, and that's at a minimum, that's what you want to be available, because without audio, there's no recording really. So you can also go in here and it'll list which cameras you have available on your computer. I can't select this because, like I said, I'm using Zoom right now, so it won't allow me. But if you do that, then there'll be a window right here that shows a preview of your screenshot of like your headshot of you talking. And this other stuff you can pretty much leave blank. We don't tell anybody to mess around with this. You can if you want to, but if you were to change the quality to something higher, it will create a larger file, which will take longer to upload. And, if there's network things going on or anything like that, it'll just prolong the period of time that it takes. I would only recommend changing this maybe if you had a guest speaker that you really wanted a nice quality of video with. But I mean, for a standard lecture, standard works fine. If you're going to be doing video or audio during your presentation, you want to make sure that this is clicked. That way, it'll also capture that in the recording. By default, if you have PowerPoint open, it will grab that file. It also does screen scrapes of the content in your slides, so that makes it searchable in the playback, which is a nice feature. I'll show you later on. But and it'll also make kind of like in a DVD or a Blu-ray, how it has chapters. As you progress through your slides, there'll be a new thumbnail at the bottom that will help students kind of traverse your recording. So that's kind of a neat feature. And by default, it will record whatever's on your screen. So if you want to do YouTube, if there's an app on the computer that you want to show off, anything that's on your computer screen, it's going to capture. So if I click this enable, like, you'll see why this isn't by default, but this is my screen. So this is what it's going to record. This is just a preview of what it's going to record. Usually, this will have this mirror effect that goes on forever. So this will just show you that this is what it's grabbing from the screen. You can do the second screen, like if I have multiple monitors, so if you wanted the second one to be captured, you can do that as well. One thing to note, there's cameras in the classrooms, but they don't do a great job of capturing the whiteboard. You can try it out, and if you're like doing large font or large writing, it would probably work, but we don't recommend it. The document cameras in the classrooms are connected to the computer for the sole purpose of being able to record them during your lecture. So there'll be another like add video source button here, and there'll be a selection for the document camera in the room you're in. So if you're somebody that would like to record what's going on underneath your doc cam, this is where you would go to set that up. And there would be an extra window in the playback so students can see you talking and then your screen, and then they can switch over to the document camera in the playback and see what you're writing under that. So it's a nice feature too. And it's a lot clearer under the document camera. So if you're like, say you're in a math course and you're doing equations, it's just a lot of faculty in that department will write under the doc camera because it records it well. So that's the recorder in a nutshell. Any questions on this before I move on? Okay. Let's see, next on the agenda. So starting a recording, record button's up here. So I don't know if it's going to shoot an error because I'm using Zoom, but we'll find out. Let's see. No, no, it worked. Okay, go. So this will start your recording. Once this happens, you can minimize Panopto and then go about, teaching your course, go into PowerPoint or the browser or whatever you want to use on the computer. And then there's also a feature where you can pause this. So if you're doing like group work and you just want to pause your lecture while students, get together and do group work or something, whatever you would like not to be recorded, you can hit this pause button. So as it says right here, streams are still being captured, but they're automatically cut from the recording. So this is a non-destructive pause. So that means, like, say you paused it and you forgot to unpause it. You're like, oh shoot, like I forgot to go back and do that, and I lost the end of my lecture. It's actually still recording, but it kind of blacks out the part that is paused. So you can go into the editor, and there's a copy and paste and a cut and paste feature that allows you to move this black bar that covers up what you don't want, whatever you didn't want to be in the video. So you can go back and edit it. So it's not the end of the world if you forgot to unpause it. So, and when you're done, you click stop. So it'll say my recording is complete. And you can add another description, I think. Oh, yeah, change this. Oh, yeah, it does. So if you forgot to put in something that you wanted besides the timestamp, you can do that here. You can also put in another description. If you're doing a recording on your own, like on your computer, and you're like, that didn't work out, I want to do it again, you can delete and start it over again. Or if you're good with it, hit done. This is going to be quick. So it goes to the upload screen, and that's a short video. So this is going to be pretty quick. So there it goes. So uploaded, it uploads it to the servers in the cloud on Panopto's end. And you can see here, it's processing. So it's taking that video, processing it, and making it ready to be posted to your folder. And then once that happens, by default, if you don't change any of the settings in Panopto, this video will immediately become available for your students. So some instructors will like to set the availability of the videos to be throughout the semester. I'll show you that, but by default, these videos will be immediately viewable in your course. So I think this means that it's all set. So I'm going to go back to my Brightspace course. Right. I think that's this one. Yes, it is. Okay, so I'm going to refresh this. And I think my video will be in here. Should be. There it is. And oh, cool. So I haven't done one of these in a while. And so an extra thing that happens when you upload a video, it automatically captions it. And the caption's pretty good. It's upwards of like mid-90s. It does a really good job. But you still got to go in there and check them out and make sure that they're okay. But this little CC here in your thumbnail means that it's been captioned already. So that if you got a longer video, sometimes that'll take a little longer to process. But since this was a short one, it kicked off and completed already. So that's cool. So that's about it from the recorder. Any questions on that portion of this?
So, like, it sounds like the major advantage over like recording, for example, let's say you're having a synchronous online course over
Yep.
Zoom, and recording through Zoom would be like this screen scraping, like, so that allows students to search, and also the built-in chapters as well.
Yeah, the playback is definitely superior from Zoom. Usually, if it's an asynchronous course and you're doing recordings, we usually will recommend Panopto over Zoom for several reasons. Those reasons, plus the retention policy for videos in Panopto is longer than it is in Zoom. So if you want to keep, I mean, some people take their videos out of the system. Some people will keep them and archive them. But there is a retention. I'm going to get to that. There is a retention policy for both, but it's a little more aggressive with Zoom because we don't have as much room on that app. So we tend to push people towards this unless they're doing it live with students. This does have the ability to do that, but it's definitely not meant to. Like there's a delay in like if someone types a question, and so it can webcast, but it's more of
Like
if you,
pre-recorded lectures, that type of thing.
yeah, that, and or if you've got a guest speaker that you want to um that you don't really care if there's an interaction between the audience and the speaker, like
Got it.
that would it would serve fine. But if you want interaction during a class, this is Panopto is definitely not what you want to use. You want to use Zoom. So.
Thank you.
Yeah. So recording, publishing. So I'm going to show you real quick the workflow that I was talking to you about. It's called the availability workflow. So you hit the say you hover over the thumbnail, and there'll be this little gear that gets you to the settings of the video. So you click on that. And let's see here. So in this, it'll start you in the overview menu in the settings. You scroll down to the bottom, and there's availability. By default, and by default with all folders, it's available immediately. If you want it to be available next Monday instead of today, you can click on that date. You can put a time in, and then that will only be available once it's hit that date. You can have it available ongoing, or if it's something that you want limited access to for whatever reason, you can have an end date too. So if you wanted it to be available from the 15th until 19th, then you could do this. So like I said, that's usually for pre-recorded stuff. Like if you've got stuff with modules and you don't want the students to access the future videos and the future modules just yet, like that's usually why this workflow is used. So, and a few people use it. So, okay, so that is the workflow, and let me talk to you about the user interface in here. So in Blackboard, there is this LTI, which gives you most of the functionality that you would have if you were in the user interface. But there's a few things it won't do. And so I usually recommend if you wanted to do like some file management or move things around or mess around with your videos, I mean, you can do some stuff in here. The majority of it's available, but I always recommend that this little box with the arrow coming out of it up next to the subscribe button will open another tab with Panopto, and will give you a more robust screen to work with more options. So I'm going to click on this. I think, okay, you can see that now. So this gives you a few more options. It allows for file management off the top. So this little checkbox, you can select these and say you have some videos from last semester that you would like to move to the current semester. Like, you know, there's content you don't want to re-record. It's already been recorded and you want to share it with your students in the current course. So you can go in here and select them, and then you can make a copy, and then you just got to find which class you want to go to. So I'm just going to say, hey, I want this to go to that folder. So I say copy, and that will put those in the other folder. So that's something. I mean, you can go into the settings, and let's see here. There's a copy. I think under manage, copy video. So you can do this here as well, but you got to dig through the menu. So it's a little bit easier to be able to do it from the UI here. Plus you can do multiple ones at the same time. So I can click all these. If you click this, it'll select all the videos. So say I want all the videos from my last course to go in there. You can do that. So So that's the user interface. Let's see. So you can also, besides the recordings that you do with Panopto, you can add any audio or video file that you would like to include in your course. So if you have a short video that talks about a topic in your course that you would like to put in Panopto, which would then get put into Brightspace automatically, you can do that. You click on this create button. Excuse me. There's an upload media. And once you do that, it's kind of like a YouTube thing where you can either drag the file onto this window or you can click on it and go into your computer and find it. So not only does it hold videos that you create, you can put any video, any audio file in here. Some people, even if they don't want to use that particular video in their course, they will upload videos to this for the captioning feature, because the captioning works a lot better than, say, YouTube. YouTube does do captioning and is a service that we can use through our Oswego accounts, but we tend to push people towards this because it's a little bit easier to edit them too, which I'll go over in a little bit. So besides the ones you record, you can add other media files as well, which is nice. So one thing to keep in mind, though, with all this stuff being put in here, there is a retention policy, and we used to have unlimited space, but now space is at a premium now. So all our services keep coming back and telling us, well, you don't have unlimited space anymore. So this is what we're giving you. For Panopto, if a video hasn't been created or viewed in the last 2 years, it's considered inactive and gets archived. In the archive, we haven't purged our archive yet. We just started doing this, so we've got quite a bit of archive space, so we haven't had a need to have a retention policy on the archive space yet. But what archive means is it'll take, if this video that I just created isn't viewed within the next 2 years, it'll automatically be put into an archive. And I can still go in here and find it, but it's not available. I have to click retrieve from archive on it, and it'll be available within the next 24 to 48 hours. Like the system will have to take time to grab it from the archive and put it back into your folder. So it's not lost forever. It's still in the system, but it's on a different server that isn't real time accessible. So yeah, so right now it's 2 years. So, and we send out emails letting people know, and we put out I'm pretty sure that 2 weeks into the fall semester is normally when the retention policy gets run. So if you notice any videos missing that you've had sitting around for a while, and that's what happened to them. So, but with, like I was telling you with Zoom, those just get outright deleted. So, and I think that's like an 18-month. I think that's what we're doing currently, is an 18-month retention policy with those. So we tend to want people to get those out of Zoom and not have them stored longer than a couple semesters. So I think that's it with retention policy. Any questions before I move on? Okay. All right. So there is an editor. There's an online editor. If you go into the video, one of the thumbnails, this first one is an edit. So you click on that. And this isn't, obviously this isn't, yes. This isn't something super fancy. It's not like Adobe Premiere or anything, but it will allow you to cut and paste some stuff. Just to note off the top, you can see this grayed area in the timeline. That's where I paused. So say, I hit pause and I didn't want to, or there's a section I want available. I just grab the end of this dark window and drag it to where in the timeline I would like it to show. So I let go there. So that will mean that all this stuff that was grayed out will be available in the playback. So like I said, all the video's still here. It recorded everything, but this little black window will prohibit that part of the video showing up in the playback. So it's kind of nice to be able to do edits like that without having to, you know, cut anything out if you don't want to. But if you want to cut things, you can. So you hit this cut button, and I think oh, maybe it won't let me cut this one. So I copied this like I just showed you. So now it's a reference. Now it that's funny. Of course you're not gonna let me. Ah, okay. So if I haven't used this in a while, I apologize. You select a section that you would like to cut. You can select it and then hit cut, and that will do that for you. Also, say you start a video in class and you forget to hit stop and you're talking to students afterwards, like they're coming up to the podium and talking to you, and you recorded that and you didn't want to, you can automatically grab each end of these and like extend them out. So if you wanted to make sure that end of the class wasn't accessible, you can easily do that. So that's how you can do edits on the timeline. You can also come in here and edit the captions. So I can go in here and listen to this and see if this is right. If it's not, I can change it on the fly. So if you have a caption file that you already have, which normally isn't the case, but you can replace what's in here already. And I think there's some other things in here, but I'm not gonna. If you want information on it, you can. There's some walkthroughs you can go through, but this you can do a deep dive. Like there's quizzes you can do. You can look at the slides and the PowerPoints. You can add things. Like if you want to add another video into this, you can. If you want to add a clip, you can add quizzes, web pages, YouTube video. So you can edit this and add content to it. So I don't know a whole lot about the quiz setup. So there are some instructions on the support site that talk about it. Or you can talk to one of the DLE, the Brightspace admins. They help do a lot of more content setup than I do in Brightspace. So they know more than I do. So after you're done making your changes, like you're done with the captions, you're done with whatever you're doing on the timeline, you hit apply. It says it's done. You want to close it? I'm like, sure. That'll bring you back, and then let's see. So hit refresh. I don't know. And it did say it. So it says processing podcast. So it takes a few seconds for all those changes you made to be reprocessed. You can see here it's chugging along. So, and there's a little, you can't view this. It's not available because it's processing the changes I made to it. But this is, yeah, see, it's a short video. So it's almost done. So that is the editor. Any questions on that? Nope. Okay. One last thing I'm going to get into is the analytics. So you can look at the analytics of each video you have, or you can look at the analytics of your folder, which will show you the analytics for all your recordings. In there, there's not going to be much in here because it's just me looking at it. But let's see. You can, you'll see there's a heat map that will show you what people are looking at and how long they watched it. And let's see, top viewers. So you can download reports, but in here will also be the names of the students in your course that have watched this. So say you've got a student that says that I've been watching the videos and I still, I need some help, and maybe they don't have, they're not getting a great grade. You can go in here and check to see if they're actually doing what they say. So that's kind of a nice feature to see, which students are actually, reviewing the content if they're having issues, and just something that you can check up on. So, and let's see. Let's go back. Oh. Oh, that's everyone's. So I'm the admin, so I get to see all the stats for everybody's. So that's kind of neat. And it's funny, you'll see there's always a spike around finals. Like everybody's going in and watching them. So you'll see this big, like, oh yeah, everyone's in there now. So it's kind of neat. So that's everything that I was going to go over with this. This is kind of just, an introductory, getting you familiar with what it looks like. Did either of you have any questions or anything else you'd like to see? Or
Not really. It was good to be able just to see the basic functionality of it, what it looks like, how it operates. Because I'd heard of it, but I've never seen it on another campus where I worked previously. And
yeah,
so it's interesting to be able to see the tool and how it works and kind of a behind the scenes. So I appreciate you walking us through it.
that's fine. Actually, one cool thing that I forgot to show you. Wait, go back. The playback. The playback's pretty cool. Come on. So this is what the students will see when they go into playback. Um, they can do like down here will be where the thumbnails are if you're going through slides. They can like I don't they can reach your stuff. Um, they not by default, but you can set it up where they can download these. Like say they do have there is a Panopto mobile app, so if they want to be able to like watch stuff offline, that will enable them to. So that's kind of a nice feature. There's also not a lot of people use it, but there is a place where you can put notes, so students can put notes like I don't. Yeah.
Mhm.
So they can these are private, but they can make them public. So if they were to put a note in here, it wouldn't you would get an email. So um and they can also make their own bookmarks. There's also a place for discussion. Like this is available to everybody in the course. And then in here, I don't know if you're familiar with Lincoln Learning, but it's kind of like this little gray area will progress through the transcript as they watch. So it's kind of a, you know, not just having the captions on the video. Like sometimes it's nice to have it off to the side. So yeah. So and then they can search anything in your video. So they can search. So like I told you, it screen scrapes slides and PowerPoints, but it also will allow them to search spoken word. So that's kind of a neat thing. Let's see. I don't know if it's available right off the bat, if it needs to be discussion.
It might be breaking it into two words, thinking that.
Yeah, you're right. Or it might be saying it different. But that it might. I don't think that might need to be that might need to be processed further. I can't tell, but I know it's available. So okay, yeah, that's all I had. And I think if you were on the email, I sent out my the agenda that had all the links to everything that I talked about. So okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
Thank you so much. Have a great one.
No problem. Thank
I
you.
do have a question if you still have time.
Yeah, we got 10 minutes, I think.
Okay, great. So this is a really basic question, and as always, I have problems with getting things to work with Brightspace. Could you walk through the process of uploading a video to Brightspace?
Sure. So let's see. this is probably the best thing about this system is how easy it is from going from recording. You pretty much stop the video and then it says you're done. Do you want to upload? You click upload and that's it. Like that's really all you need to do. And it sends it to Brightspace. So it's definitely the best part of this because there's other lecture capture systems where you have to like do some manual work and take a file and put it where you want to, but this does it for you. So after you do the recording, it will bring you over to the upload screen. I don't know if you remember that part, but there was like a little progress bar that was in this section, and that is it being uploaded to the Panopto cloud. And then once it's done and you get these options, like you can share the video or edit it or view it, that means that the video has been posted to your Brightspace course. So immediately after shutting, well, actually, I'll start it now. Do a couple seconds, hit stop. And it says, it'll give you this screen. And like I said before, you can edit this stuff before it gets uploaded if you want. And yeah, it'll say all this. You're like, okay, I'm good with that. It'll immediately bring you to the upload. That's super quick because it was 2 seconds of video. So that's all. That's it. Like that sends it to your Brightspace course. So that's really all you have to do. You just got to make sure. The one thing you got to keep in mind is that this folder is correct, because if you're not, if you don't open it in Brightspace, it won't automatically populate the folder window here. So you just got to make sure that it's going to the right class if you have multiple classes. So that sometimes can get people confused, but
And
that,
where would that be in your Brightspace course page?
so let me show you that.
Excuse me, name course.
Uh, that's this. Share that and go here. No, there it is. So this is my practice course. So I'm just going to go to the course home. So if you put it in your, like, you're supposed to put it in your content. You can, move it around wherever you want in your content area, but anything in your content will be on your front page. So for right here, it says Panopto videos. You can also just go to the content area if you want, and it'll be listed there. So after you put it into the course, like I showed you, it'll be under your content section, and you can move it around to, whatever part of your content you want. And then once it's in here, you click on this, and that will open this kind of preview window that I was showing you. It takes a few seconds. So this will show you all the videos that are available in this course. So these are all the videos your students will be able to see. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think so. So, and thank you. I'm having problems, I guess, installing Panopto into Brightspace. I thought I had done it at the beginning of the session. So there should be a folder then underneath content that specifically says Panopto.
I think I can do a second one. So if I go in here, I just like do Panopto videos and I hit enter. Like that'll make a new module. And then I go under existing activities and then external learning tools. And then I find the Panopto entry in here, which is right there. And that's it. That's all you need to do to install it in Brightspace. So
okay, let's see. Okay, hopefully this will work now. Okay, so then once you record something in Panopto, you said, as you showed previously, then it will automatically go into that folder for you to organize.
Yep. And if you want to, a lot of people will take these videos and you can, let's see, this is kind of next level. Let's go to the content area. And if I just create, let's say I'm going to create a new module, or, like chapter 1. And then I want to, let's see, I want a new, like, I'm just going to make a new discussion, and you can take videos from your folder. Oh, this looks different than I looked at last time. Okay, so is this the share stuff? Yeah, censored stuff. So say, you've got your folder, your students can see your folder, but you can also go in and add, single videos to your modules. Like, say if you want it to be that video with the content that goes with it, like, you can do that. See right here. So it'll open up your it'll show you what videos are available, and you click this and you click insert, and it'll say this is what it's going to look like, and I say that's cool, and then I say save, and I'll just say video. There's some other things that you can set in here. I'm not a Brightspace guru, so I'm leaving it alone, just saving. And so this will post that video in that module. So let me go back out to the table of contents so you can see. So you can see I made this chapter 1 module. I click on that, and it's like, okay, I want to put the first video that I made in there so students know that chapter 1 talks about this stuff. So you can tell them to go to the folder, that's fine. Or if you want to break it out, take the video, put it into a certain module, you can do that too. So I hope I didn't confuse you with that.
No, that's very helpful. That's the sort of thing I would want to do, is I like to put everything in one folder just to try to keep things as I don't know, contiguous as possible, I guess.
Right.
Great. Well, thank you very much for your help. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. If you have any questions, you can feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to assist.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So,